I was a fugitive. I was facing 15 years in prison. I had to go stand before the judge. They offered a plea, but the judge don't have to accept it, right? The judge was mean. Was I scared? Absolutely not. Because here's the thing.
Themselves.
When you don't fear any form of violence or you don't fear death and money don't move you, you're a god. You're an ascended one.
Manifest House. Peace, family. Welcome back to Manifest House, a playground for your dreams. Today, we have somebody who I believe represents somebody who gets their pleasure out of pain, right? And always challenging themselves and committing themselves to the effort of their cause. Minister Farrakhan once said something. He said, men are not supposed to find a pleasure in women. They're supposed to find a pleasure in manifesting things outside their mind, right? Bringing it into existence. And when you look at the word mind, it comes from the Latin word mens. So when a person tell you to be mindful, mind yourself, they're telling you to get back into that thing that makes you complete, right? And that's tapping into your mind, bringing things out of your imagination into reality. I've seen him manifest things, before I met him and since I've met him, and he's challenged himself to grow in and outside of the gym, and in business, and as a manhood, and as fathers. As a father, he taking his products from social media to put them on shelves. When I walk in the store, literally, I went to the store, and my local store at Sprouts, and I seen his products right there on the shelf, right? And it almost seemed like it's at ease, but that's easy for a person on the outside to view. And so you see somebody putting up 4 or 5 on a plate, and you're like, oh, that's easy for them. In reality, it's never easy because there's a process that gets to making it easy, right? And that process is that challenge and that effort. So today I want to talk about how he manifested himself into the version that he is now, and able to make those accomplishments and able to constantly challenge himself to where he still derives pleasure out of the pain of the process. My brother.
Wow.
Like this shit.
Wow. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
That's
That
the
was
intro.
you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, who I gotta think? Like,
I was about to ask you for some money. Like you got it all, so I didn't know where we was going with this one.
That was dope. Thank you.
That
Bro.
was the
Appreciate
intro.
that.
Well, look, I want to dive into it then, man. We got to talk about your process.
Yes, sir.
Because, I was sitting here and, as we were preparing, I looked back at the message that you had sent us. And I don't know if you remember that, but you sent Keys and I a text message about, all right, if we're going to do this, here's something that we need to commit to.
Yes.
And you had things in there about, making sure that we were working out, making sure we were taking care of ourselves,
Right.
making sure we were fasting.
Mhm.
I think we were doing a 24-hour fast every Wednesday.
Yes.
But you have these principles, man, and a process for how you guide your life. I just want you to just share with us, man, and pour into us a little bit, man. Like, what's behind Mike Rashid process?
You gotta think about, thank you, I appreciate it, man. You gotta think about like the world, right? The universe, right? Humans on Earth. We're sitting on a ball in the middle of space, right? So the reason that we're able to sustain is because of laws of physics, right? Now, you go down, that's macro, go down to the micro, human beings. There's 8 billion people on this planet. These cars, 2,000-pound cars, moving through air fast, right? Typically, people are not running into each other because they follow laws, right? We agree that a red light is stop, okay? So they can go, and then vice versa, right? So laws and rules gives order, right? And out of order is when you can really do things. So for me, I have to operate under a system of laws and rules and codes for myself, right? So I've always been like weird, right? I've always been like not with the crowd. From school, it doesn't matter, right? I've done different activities. I was in a chess club. It was weird. I boxed. Even that was weird because it wasn't a high school sport, right? I was never with the crowds, but I still can vibe with everybody. And me being true to myself, I had to stay like that. I was the only kid. Like at 12 years old, I was jogging at 6 a.m. every day, right? So this is like the weird life that I had, right? I had so many different elements to my life that my friends didn't have. And I feel like it set me up to where I am now. Now, when you said, when I texted the rules, it's like, yo, this is what makes us special, right? Because each one of us are so unique and so diverse and bring so much dope shit to the table. But now let's get in synergy with something so that we're really like spiritually bonded. So it's going to make our financial efforts even greater, even more special. So I just think things like that is dope. Like we have, like when I grew up, my mother gave me a code word. So if ever anything, whatever, we got this word, right?
Yeah.
So that's just who I am. She put that in me. So even with my crew, like Anu's, like there's a certain set of numbers that they know is going to be something about me, something about us, you know? So I feel like that's special to have these little like codes and whatnot with our people. So
How do you implement the God bodyism, right?
yes,
You know, I think there's a culture that we come from, right?
right,
That is not the mainstream, if you
right.
will,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Of course, we live in America. Even though Islam is the fastest growing religion worldwide, we still live in America that is based on Christian principles,
Correct.
right? That's the standard. But as you go about dealing with different people in the world, you have to bring your belief system and your way of doing things,
Right.
right? Even your hat that says Sacred Seven.
Correct.
You understand me? You follow different fundamental laws and rules in which you go about, you know, coding yourself as you move through the world.
Mm-hmm.
How do you maintain that, you know, difference in that element of who you are when you're dealing with business for people of all different, diverse, various backgrounds? How do
Yeah.
you maintain that God bodyism of Mike Rashid and that culture while doing business with other cultures?
Okay, that's a good question, bro. So for those who don't know, when we say God body, what that means, it's once again more rules, is information, is knowledge that we have to memorize to call ourselves God body, right? And it's like going to school. So you gotta think outside of school or whatever traditional means of education that a lot of us had, we had to learn this at a young age, right? To where somebody be like, yo, what's today's math, God? You gotta go into the lessons, right? So it's a lot with that, a lot of information that you retain. You have a different perspective than other people. You have more perspective than a lot of people because here's the thing, like you said earlier, I enjoy pain, right? Well, I enjoy effort. I get satisfaction out of effort, right? Learning is effort, right?
Yeah.
It's not just physical, mental effort. And that's a more beneficial type of effort that we can put on ourselves and get addicted to because at a certain point, our body is not going to be able to keep building, but our minds, I mean, Charlie Munger just died, but if you listen to how he spoke, sound like a young man. You know what I'm saying? Because them dudes work their brains like none other. So that's the energy that we're on in regards to God body. So if I'm saying I'm God body, it's a lot of confidence come with that because I got a lot of information that I've memorized and I understand. Knowledge, when you have knowledge, is just information. You have to apply it for wisdom to bring forth understanding because just information means nothing, right? And people can memorize shit, but how do you live in your life? How are you impacting people? So that's part of what this is. And then also, I got to really address this for God body. It's like we have a divine duty, right? So I'm governed by very specific laws. And those laws are this. Out of all people, generally speaking, and listen, this principle is also taught in like Buddhism and stuff like that. 85% of people are deaf, dumb, and blind. And that's not a disrespectful thing. People are just, we want to be efficient. Doing extra shit is not normal, right? That's not what, if you look at lions, they sleep all day. They're not working out. You know what I'm saying? So they're doing cardio. You feel me? So human beings, that's the norm. This is why people become overweight so easy because we have access to so much food. You know, so we have to, there's this big group of people, there's another small percentage of people, which is 10%, that keep these people deaf, dumb, and blind. They keep them in a state of fear, a state of confusion, a state of anger. They keep them fat and happy, obese, right? They put just filth on TV, right? Indoctrinating their brains. They keep them like that because they feel like they're going to need them. Oh, you don't feel good today? You have depression. Take these pills. Pay for this for having a bad day, right? So then you have a smaller group, which is God body, that 5%, right? We are to take our people, that 85, out of the triple stage of darkness, death, numb, and blindness. And our arch nemesis is that 10%, the wicked bloodsuckers of the poor. So everything that I do is one little thing in that battle, in that war against that 10%, that battle for these souls, for these, this conscious, our people, right? Raising their souls. So anything, I'm a capitalist, but I'm a conscious capitalist, right? So anything I'm going to do in business where I'm making money, it's still got to be benefiting people, right?
Yeah.
Like, I won't take, listen, man, like, I'm meeting with these people in Miami. They're big in alcohol, right? And it's just champagne, but I can't
push it.
Push it. I can't promote it.
But I think that's a big thing. I think people don't think about that aspect of, you know, some people don't have none of those moral principles or standards when it comes to business. They can take any deal. And then some people do, which means that you're going to have to get a little more creative. Sometimes how you get funding, how you go about your advertisers, how you go about doing certain things. So I asked that because this generation is trying to figure out how do they maintain their spiritual beliefs, but make money at the same time and have a certain standard of living. For Gen Zers, the millennials, right? A lot of them don't believe in capitalism, but they still want the modern luxury, right? They still want to be able to travel and eat at the places that they want to, but that requires them to be able to provide a service, to be in the workforce, right? To be able to create some of these deals, whether it's getting their dream out of manifesting. So I'd like to hear more about when people do have these spiritual moral compasses and how do they navigate the world and still be successful? You feel me? Because I definitely have to do that.
Now, that's a good one. So all right, so let's think about the things that I do, right? Now, remember, I said I'm a conscious capitalist, right? So I own several businesses. All my businesses are beneficial to people. I have a sports nutrition business, right? Protein, you know, supplements, nootropics. I have things.
Shout out the names for folks, man, so they can follow.
The Ambrosia Collective.
I'm on our new sponsor.
We got the number one plant-based protein in the country, right?
Yeah.
These are things that's good for people, right? I have a really big online training app and platform, Alpha Shred. I'm helping mad people get in shape. Like, this is important. I lost a homie of mine about 3 years ago, right? Black men, when we get in our 40s, it's like go time, right? And he died from a heart attack. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us die in our 40s, right? So I'm doing my best to like help save lives in that regards, right? Because people don't look at health as spiritual. That's extremely spiritual. You feel me? So y'all gotta, it's a lot of practical things that's beneficial to people that's still of a spiritual nature, right? It's helping people. As long as you're helping people and your intentions are good, that's spiritual. Right. So I had this week's lecture with my students, my mentees, was spiritual wealth or material wealth. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, look, I'm not saying don't go after the material wealth, you know, but this spiritual wealth, no one can take from. It won't degrade. No one can steal it, right? And there was a scripture in Matthew, Yeshua, he was like, yo, build up the wealth in heaven, in your heaven, right? Not in the world, because the wealth that you could build in heaven, it can't be like eaten away by moths or rust. You know what I'm saying? And what he's talking about is that spiritual wealth, right? Because look, you know, I do have things of lots of material value. And I remember I was meeting somebody in Beverly Hills, and he was like, yo, should we take our watches off? I was like, what? I was like, absolutely not. But he's right. Like, I understand what he's saying. It's like, why would I? And I got, you know, but it's kind of crazy that we would spend a lot of money on something that somebody would come and put a gun to our heads and take. Nobody could do that for wisdom. You know what I'm saying? We got to put a gun to somebody's head and like, sit down and listen to me. You know what I'm saying? to feed them. But that's a joke. But I'm just saying, like,
it's real.
That stuff, me writing it out and putting it into the universe to my people, I'm teaching myself as well. You know what I mean? And I've been in a constant state of like a metamorphosis still. You know what I'm saying? I'm always growing and defining who I am more and more each day. So, but I am very confident and I move in a spiritual light. That's why I keep the Sacred Seven on me, right? And I got things of a spiritual nature tatted all over my body, right? I've always been like that, like for protection, right?
Like a sigil.
Exactly. So, and it matters because this is something I always tell people, listen, you can be a magician and create the universe that you want, the world that you want.
That's right.
With your words and your thoughts and your actions. And that's what I do. So some things may seem ritualistic, but I'm chanting spells for myself. You know what I'm saying? And on people. I'll tell people in my group, like, yo, y'all are gonna kill it. Y'all killing it this week. You know what I'm saying? You know, you gotta like, this is literally casting a spell.
Yeah.
See, this is what they do. I don't know if y'all ever read Behold the Pale Horse, but he talked about, and he's ex-naval intelligence, got out the military to like, yo, it's a lot of shit y'all need to know. But they keep things, let's say magic, right? People look at that like, they're like, oh, that's evil. And like, where do you get that from? And they're talking about movies. You know what I'm saying? They take something that's very practical and can be beautiful and make it weird so people won't access it. They won't even try.
I think it was Bobby Hemmett that he spoke upon those principles that it's energy.
Right.
And sometimes the things that he said, if you look at a bottle, he said they have a skull and bone on it, right? And he said that it represents that it's some powerful energy. It's so powerful it can kill you. He said the skull and bone is not in it. It's on the outside as a representation of the type of energy that this possesses.
Right.
So when we look at symbols, we're looking at representations of different energy.
Right.
And the strongest symbols that represent the maximum amount of energy are always utilized by those who have an understanding. Logos, right? People create sigils when we create logos and branding, right? That branding is, you know, and you're going to create that logo to represent the energy that that brand has.
Right.
In the name, right? There's so much power in the name because even in, you know, a lot of times a person will go to the root of a name and they'll look at the Latin root and what it means.
Right.
Right. So therefore that the root of the energy in which they're calling themselves and when other people call them, it represents the robustness of your idea or your vision.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to have something large, name it something large.
Correct.
You feel me? You want something small, name it small.
Yeah.
Make sure that your logo, your branding, your name all encompasses that which you want to build. And I think that level of intentionality and clarity as an entrepreneur or as a designer is something that a lot of people miss on those stages. Because you ask some people, why did you do this? Oh, I just did it just because. Well, your business is going to be just because.
Right.
You don't know why it failed, just because.
Nah, it's fine.
When you're intentional, it's different.
It's like the lesson though that I'm really picking up from you, Mike, right? Is like information is great, right? But there's work that has to go in before you even get it at times.
Yeah, the science.
Right. And I think there is, you know, a lot of things it feels like the magic or the mystery of stuff is we try to muddy how difficult the information is to get and it stops people from working.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been telling people a lot where, you know, we all want this information. And I think now in the social media age and in the digital age, information is coming aplenty, but the real information is only given to those that have put in work.
Right.
Who's earned it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. The information that's just out freely for everyone isn't all the information.
Right. Nah.
That's what somebody kind of wants you to see. So there's some work that goes in before. And I love how you're talking about being a conscious capitalist because the information that you possess, somebody has to do some work for you to share it.
Right.
You're not just going to give all that information away.
100%.
So somebody's got to pay, somebody's got to intern, they got to work for you. So talk about that.
I'm very transparent with that.
Come
too,
on.
Right. You have to pay for this. I tell people all the time, I give you, it's like a little string. You can start pulling it if you're interested, but you're going to get to a point to where it ain't going to work no more. You got to pay, right? Because listen, it's interesting. So think about the whole concept behind secret societies, right? I get it, right? If we're all billionaires, we need to keep our families together. We can't allow people outside of our families to come in and weaken us, right? So if you're worthy, show me that you're on a level, right? So like for instance, with my community, right? This is for very selfish reasons of mine. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like why I started this, right? All right. So in Islam, we have pillars, and one of the pillars is charity, right? So it's giving me the opportunity to earn a blessing by blessing somebody else, right? Now, it's a very practical way I'm going to extract that. I'm helping people level up mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, but I'm also getting to identify who got real pedigree, right? That's my next partner. Like that idea. Let's get together. You know what I'm saying? So I can't just open the floodgates and let everybody in for no reason. I don't even want to. I don't want 1 million people.
Yeah.
I want a select few that can afford it because it's not for everybody. And let's sit in council because look, these people I'm gonna bring around you. I'm gonna bring around you. Y'all don't want, nobody wants, listen, some people are at different stages in life. You need to go set that shit up, bro. Like, and then come and see us. Not for real, come and see us when you can afford certain things. So I did a free telegram before I launched, right? This is fascinating. They was in there like a mob, right? So on the day of launch, I don't think anybody in the telegram signed up, right? They were talking about how broke they were, this and the third. I was like, yo, y'all sound like a bunch of bitches right now. I don't like this kind of, nah, for real. I don't do well with that kind of talk. The negative degradation and the self-loathing.
Nah.
I don't with that.
Yeah.
What you should be saying is, let me go get my money up. Be right back.
Speak from abundance.
You feel me? So it's a whole mindset that I just do not with at all.
I tell people, math is a superpower. Once you learn math, if you are a mathematician, you have a power that most people in the world don't have. Right. But in the simplistic aspect of it in your daily life, when you talk about things that you can afford, all the person is giving you is a roadmap. Right? Because most of the time when you say you can't afford something, it's really just a time thing. Right? If you save up this amount of money over this amount of time, then that's when you can buy it.
It's simple.
It's not that you can afford it. You just can't buy it right now.
Or
different people that know that they're going to manifest, they just look at, okay, this is the process needed in order for me to get that thing. But they don't shut it out of themselves. So I don't like that negative self-talk as well because you're limiting yourself.
Well, I mean, it also just looks like difficulty, right? And so part of what we're kind of getting at is there is an aspect of human nature that is lazy in a way, right? That is seeking comfort, right? Seeking ease. So if you are somebody that is negative, what that feels like is everything that I bring to you, there is challenge and difficulty, and it stops me from engaging with you. When I talk to you from a space of abundance and you are optimistic, when you are speaking truth to power and you have that energy, that light, I'm drawn to that because now it feels easy. And that's what we call it, like the flow, like motion. You know what I mean? That energy. That's what everybody's trying to seek. And that's really what this manifest house is about, right? It's like getting that negative aspect and pessimism out of your brain. Like, let's find your flow. Let's find your energy.
That's the thing, man. Like, so I found you through High Level, right? And when I found Keys through a mutual friend, and I fell in love with both of y'all, spiritually speaking, right? Because both of y'all are challenging people, right? I don't understand the financial components of business like you do. That's crazy to me, right? So of course I want to come and soak up information. And then Keys has one of the most robust frontal cortexes I've ever experienced, right? He could just spit like freestyling, you know what I'm saying, on pianos, like live shit. I put that so tough, right? And he makes me proud because he's God body too. And it's like, if you God body, be God body, right? Radiate that. And it's not like you have to, you God body, bro, without you realizing it or not. You don't have to profess a certain thing to be of a certain cloth, right? And I'm drawn to people of that highest tier of fabric because we all have different types of fabric, right? That's just the nature of reality, and not all fabric are the same. So I am not for everyone. Now, if I'm not for you or you're not for me, take this information as wisdom if you're trying to better yourself, right? So for those people in that group, I was saying like, yo, y'all are saying the wrong things to me, and I'm hard on y'all because y'all know me, right? Y'all know I don't play this negative self-talk at all. You're an alchemist, potentially. I'm an alchemist, right? Literally, look, I don't get sick, right? I don't have bad luck, right? Only good things happen to me. I'm gonna give you a perfect example, a perfect practical example of how you can take a shitty situation, a base metal, and turn it into a precious metal, right? A good situation. I was facing 15 years in prison, right? I had to go stand before the judge. I was hoping they offered a plea, but the judge don't have to accept it, right? The judge was mean. And I was a fugitive, so it was an enhancement. So that makes it worse, right? So was I scared? Absolutely not. Because here's the thing. All right, so I can either get out of here scot-free or I could sit still for 15 years, right? Doing 15 years because it was a violent offense. So I fixed it. I looked at it. I changed reality. I said, oh, well, if I got to sit still, I may not be physically there with my children, but we're going to be on the phone nonstop, writing mad letters. I'm going to study my ass off. I'm going to be getting to bed on time. No drugs, no alcohol, working out. I'm going to come out Malcolm X 2.0. That's about to be a problem. Let's go. Let's go. And I'm going to run my unit. I ain't worried about nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I made it benefit me if I had to do that. That's real freedom. And people live in a state of fear, right? So there's nothing negative that you can give me that I'll say, oh yeah, no, that's bad. Oh, afraid of that. Even death. Listen, when you don't fear like any form of violence or you don't fear death and money don't move you, you're a god. You've ascended. You know what I'm saying? You're an ascended one.
See, that's what's powerful about religion, right? And that belief. To me, the only thing I fear is lack of movement, stagnation. I have a deep fear of that. So I don't fear.
You don't have
obstacles.
fear of it.
No.
You don't fear that. You don't fear anything.
I ensure that I'll never do it.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's with my faith, I believe in an afterlife, right? So I believe that there is continual motion even in death. So that's why I don't have a fear of death.
Yeah.
I don't fear obstacles because that means I was moving towards something. I didn't have the obstacle yesterday. I got it today. That was still progress. I'm going to get through that and go to the next thing. So to me, that's where you're talking about your mindset, which was it was just an obstacle. Things are still moving. You're going to turn that into a positive.
I don't even see it as an obstacle, bro. And I'm being honest. It's an opportunity.
But
it's an opportunity.
And that's the mindset shit.
Look, all right, so in boxing, right?
Love that.
You can fight a guy that sucks and look like because you're not rising to the occasion. They're awkward. It's just a whack fight, right? But you fight a legit G, chances are either he whoop your ass or you look like a fucking world beater because you rose to the occasion. He gave you the opportunity to be great.
Absolutely.
If you don't have great opposition, you'll never be great.
Yeah.
You feel me? So I smile like when the storm is in front of me, I'm like, let's fucking go. Look, the movie 300, right? A lot of inaccurate in there historically, but I love that movie, right? When they were raining them arrows on them, they start laughing.
Yeah.
I get goosebumps right now. Like that's literally me. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
You feel me? And then your guys is the same. And then the guys that was the Arcadians was shook.
Yeah.
They were like, what are they laughing?
Yeah.
They're dying laughing like, yo, it's time for glory, bro.
But see, that's me. Like, I think that's where we're all, the three of us have been so similar on that and connected. So, semantics, right? Whether we call them obstacles, opportunities, et cetera.
Yeah.
Right. These challenges, we like the tests
100%.
because that's part of going back to the intro, right? Like, you want to prove that you want it's not so much pain in itself, but it's like,
it's the glory after
it's the glory after you've been able to put in the work.
Right.
We want to put in the work. And I think so many people shy away from that. It was interesting, man. My pastor this weekend, I was doing a bedside Baptist with these babies I got. So I'm sitting in the bed with the little girls, man. We're watching our pastor in New York, and he was saying, everyone's praying for opportunity, but opportunity equals work. So when the opportunity comes and you shy away from the work, you didn't really want it. And what I realized is like, I want the work. And I actually always have been asking for it.
Yep.
When I had roles, I was moving into marketing and I was asking the CEO, he said, what role, what brand do you want? This was at Procter & Gamble, right? I said, well, what's the toughest brand? That was my only answer. Cause I'm like, I've never been in the space.
Right.
Just give me what you think is the hardest.
Right.
Cause I'm gonna learn the most and I'm gonna prove myself.
Yeah.
He said, bet you got tied.
And you're gonna make them proud.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make myself proud.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I wanted the work. And everything I hear about you, when you put stuff in the chat for us, it's like, go into the work.
Yeah.
And these folks got to stop, man. I don't know where my camera at, man, but like, stop shying away from the work. All right.
But listen,
prove yourself.
or do it. It ain't for you. Everything ain't for everybody.
But that's the where you get to kind of like test yourself.
Right.
Taste test in the world to see what you like to do.
Correct.
You feel me? Because you can love to do something and it still be super challenging.
Right.
So, but it's different when a person going for something that's easy.
Yeah.
That's not what I go for.
Nah.
I want to find things that I love to do, but that are also challenging.
Right.
So then I can also meet the moment.
Right.
You feel me? Like, I've been through business wars where, you know, on the other end, I said, okay, well, I'm just about to prove to y'all who I am, because obviously y'all don't understand this.
Right.
But what you did provided me is a moment for me to prove to myself that I'm still me without y'all, and now y'all know this, I know this, the world knows this, and it's certified as a moment.
Right.
Still
And that's what happens through that self-reminder is the clarity call that you got to get, because success, you know, success sometimes makes a man want the easy life. You know what I mean? And you become a creature of comforts, and you start seeking those comforts. But when you start seeking those comforts, you're no longer the person that can truly produce the comfort. Right? Now you become dependent on your money, you become dependent on all these opportunities and things around you. You're not really dependent on yourself. So you lose an aspect of life. I was watching Griselda, and they was talking about this. She said, you know, we look at all these Americans out here, and everybody's in this American dream. And she said, these people that are already rich, they've lost that thing in life that gives them excitement. They wake up, they got their lattes, they go play their tennis, they golf, but nothing is uncertain in life. Right? Nothing is you have to go do anything hard. So how do you know you're alive? Right? If somebody gets in an accident, they go poke you and see, do you feel this? Because if you don't feel nothing and you don't get that excitement, like, you know, your life is on the line, or it makes you feel alive, then there's no real point and purpose. You just live in this mundane existence trying to maintain.
What are you here for?
So true entrepreneurs find that purpose.
Ray Dalio talks about this. He's got a book, Changing World Order. And, you know, he's breaking down kind of quality of life and what fulfillment is. And one of the principles in that is work ethic. And I think it's a lie that poorer people or some of the impoverished tell themselves that the rich are lazy. And they don't realize a lot of times that the rich have extremely high work ethic and still work hard. It's, you know, out in Bentonville, where our nonprofit is based, the Walton family, right? So wealthiest family in the world, billions upon billions upon billions, right? The owners of Walmart.
Your homies.
No, I won't say that, but like, you know, at
you
least
can call them.
they have been great sponsors of our nonprofit.
That's dope.
Right. But what I think I appreciate the most is being able to observe. Right. And you guys know this about me. I love to watch and observe people in their greatness. You know, I do that with you guys. So when I get to observe them in their home city, right, they're still working. They're still on their laptops. Like they're still active and getting after it when they don't have to. They could do nothing. Right. But that's not in them. Work ethic is ingrained in them. And I think that's something I admire about you guys, because there are people that would look at y'all and say, they're good. They ain't got to do nothing. But every day you get up and work. Bro. You talk to me about getting up every day.
Actually, it becomes harder because, you know, when you have, if you broke and you get $100, it's an accomplishment all day. You know what I mean? $1,000 an accomplishment. You get an interview and it's an accomplishment. That feeling, that rush comes to you instantly with every win. The more wins you get, it's harder to get that. Right? And so somebody that's a decamillionaire, what do they got to do to get that feeling again? Right? And that's what it comes back to, like that fulfillment. It becomes harder the more you get used to it. So the higher you go up, you know, you're used to breathing that altitude. What is going to make me feel like I've actually given some effort and I deserve this, right? And I'm alive. So it's the fact that, you know, your problems are different, your challenges are different. So the decamillionaire wants to he wants to get to 100 million and the billionaire so they can feel something. Right. And then when that shifts, sometimes that turns into a philanthropic purpose. That may turn into you want to be the world changer. But human beings are trying to find, number one, fulfillment, to feel alive. They want to feel like they're a service and they have value to the world. Everybody's chasing the same thing at different levels.
That's true.
Fulfillment, that work ethic.
Yeah, man. Like for me personally, I look at people who's murdering the game. I'm like, I know I can do that, right? So I'm always gonna, like you said, I'm not, or you said, or y'all straight, like, what? What are you talking about, bro? I don't got a plane. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And look, and it's not that when I get to the level to be able to buy a plane, I might not. I just want to be able to. You know what I'm saying? So, hell, I got spoiled by a company had me speak and they put me on a private jet. I was like, I like this, right? So I splurged once. I was like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? But I want to do that to where it ain't nothing.
Absolutely.
You feel me? So like it's so like life is so beautiful. It's so fascinating, right? We're so fortunate, right? It's so unrealistic from all of the sperm coming out of our father into our mother that it's us, that we're the ones. It's so like the potential for us to be born up or in a bad family or in another country without resources, that could have happened, right? But we here in the richest nation in the world, right? With resources out the ass, right? So I'm digging up everything I can, and I'm planting as many seeds as I can, because I'm not going to waste my life by just sitting around being lazy and just chilling. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much money I got. Like, there was a time, like in 2017, 18, I was about to buy a really big crib in Scottsdale, right? I had a spot already. I was about to just upgrade. I'm like, well, why would you do that, bro? What the you trying to retire? You want to die? Right?
Yeah.
It's cheap here anyway. It ain't like that's an accomplishment, right? I bought my house out here and got an uncomfortable condo, little townhouse. And I had to, boom. Got rid of that, got the crib. Now I need bigger than that, right? So I'm always challenging myself, bro. I'm an adrenaline junkie. You know what I'm saying? I like to be on go mode. And look, I'm about quality of life, not quantity, right? I feel like I tell people all the time, like, my light gonna burn out one day. It's gonna be a wrap. But I'm gonna max out this motherfucker while I'm
all
here.
day.
Oh, that's the giving up, and I think that's that principle of maximization. But then also understanding, like, and it's something everybody can ask themselves: are you giving 100%?
Right.
99.9% of people got to answer that no.
Yeah.
And your 100% looks different at every level, right? The goal is, how can I, like, if I give you the game, right? I teach, let's say, I show you how to build out your personal brand.
Right.
All right. You can go take that game and you can do that 100%, and that may get you $100,000.
Right.
Somebody else 100% may get them $1 million, right?
Yeah.
But most people complaining about life and don't realize that what they really complaining about is themselves, because they not giving enough to get all that's out there.
Right.
And I think about that, like, what does my 100% look like at this level? So take a step back and observe and be like, all right, if I was my own angel and observing in the third, and I wanted to build my own life out, right? And I'd be like, all right, you need to increase your work ethic here. You need to go work out a little earlier so you can maximize time in this day. You need to study right here. You need to foster these relationships a little more because you're not making that connection enough. You need to go out and be a little. So it'll be like all of these little things that you can tweak. And most people are just not self-aware to ever hit their 100%.
Right.
Because people focus on either what they're doing bad. Sometimes they focus on the thing that they're doing good, which is okay, but you're missing all those other things that you can implement that'll get you to that next level.
And that's why coaching is so important. You know, I see a lot of, you know, I read the comments that are under stuff that you guys do, right? Because I'm a nerd, right? So I mean, I'm a marketing nerd. So I'm trying to get the insights of where people are, and it's interesting, right? You see the naysayers against the coaching and the master classes and all that. And it's, to me, it's so ignorant because I could tell that they've never done anything.
It's fascinating.
Because for me, right, as a football player, right, or at West Point, I would never have pushed myself as hard as they had pushed me. Because there's a stopping mechanism, right? A pain mechanism where it's hard to keep going, and that somebody, a great coach that cares, right, and that has your best interest, will always see a little bit more in you and could push you over that threshold.
Self-preservation doesn't want you to hurt yourself.
That's what you need. Because it's like, I remember lifting and squatting until I threw up playing football. Man, at 40 years old, if you told me to go squat right now, which I do, I'm not going to squat until I throw up.
Right.
But I always know if I leave the gym, I'm like, man, I had more in me.
Way more.
Because I've thrown up before. So I know I didn't put. Bro, let me go back around and go do that.
I was thinking about that. I was in the gym. I was hit something. I was, it was some big heavyweight.
Some monstrous.
And I felt good about it.
The whole gym.
I felt good about it. Then I thought about it. I said, damn, when I was 21, I used to take the 100 pounds and I would just do the pull-ups. And then here I am acting like this is an accomplishment now.
Yeah.
I'm like, that means I'm way stronger than I am, but I've decreased my level of challenge.
Right.
And that's why I was like, yo, I be need somebody else to work out because self-preservation don't want you to hurt yourself.
That's true.
Right? But other people be like, bro, I can like, when I do work out with other people, they be like, oh, if you did this, then you can do that.
Right.
Wait a minute, you got more struggle, right? Because that's when you go get stronger.
Correct.
Yeah. So I had to go in the gym today and challenge myself to do a different type of workout in areas that I'm weak at. Because I know if I do the things that I'm strong at, I can do it. Yeah. And I felt like I've done something, but my muscles ain't did nothing because there's no challenge.
You gotta get around. People be around weak ass people though.
Yeah.
Like I need you to touch on that because
so listen,
if your crew ain't challenging you, you got a weak
so
ass.
They
bunch of soft.
They don't. My crew don't challenge me. My crew don't challenge me. But here's the thing: I'm self-motivated. I literally ascended beyond.
But they have expectations of you, though.
Yes, yeah, and that's a challenge in itself.
If you below the expectation of what I think Mike should be doing, you know they're gonna look at you a certain way.
Right.
So it's the expectation.
He felt the wrath the other day. I was just like, man, I need to do some 100 burpees, right?
Yeah.
But they got ready, but I got weights. You know what I'm saying? And I just went until I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? And we put it on live to hold us accountable. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. I'm down to give myself a gut check. Cause look, this is how I think. If I could do this, I know y'all can't do it. I got an advantage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And listen, even in business, I don't give a fuck. Like when I'm sitting in these boardroom meetings, I got my grill on. No playing, Jane. I got on. I'm all that. I'm representing my culture, right? Cause they want you to like dull that shit down. Nah, I'm gonna turn it up. And I'm gonna challenge y'all intellectually, and y'all gonna be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm gonna come with some fire too. Right? It just happened recently, and now everybody's back on the program. You know what I'm saying?
Man, so I think that's super key. Is you can acquiesce to somebody else's culture, or they can respect yours.
Right.
Right. I was watching a show where the guy was getting prepared. It was some lawyers. They were getting prepared to try to bring in these new clients. Right. They was from, I believe, like Japan.
Right.
And before the meeting had started, he had like dressed up in some of the traditional wear. Yeah. He had like tea. He had like a picture of someone.
What was he?
He was a white guy.
Goofy.
That's what the other guy had told him. But he said, you don't understand. I spent some time in Japan and they respect when other people respect their culture.
That part. Yeah.
So when they came in, the other guy was like, bro, you about to kill this meat. And they gonna think you crazy. But then the dude came in and he had a picture of his hometown. And he was like, is this so-and-so? How did you know about this province? And he was like, I do my research. Right. Yeah, and then he looked at the guy. He was like, "We're gonna get along just good." Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's that whole thing of like you can mock somebody's culture or you can respect it.
Right.
Right. But at the same time, we don't have enough respect for our own culture to bring it in a room and say that no, you have to honor me. We're both doing business together. Correct. You may wear a suit. You may wear all of this, and that's your culture. I don't have to come in here looking like you for us to do business. The value of it is the two cultures are doing business together. We're doing trade. We're doing agreement. We're having a pact together.
This is what people don't understand. So I learned this in my travels. So I used to live in the United Arab Emirates, right? That's where Dubai is. People think Dubai is a country, but it's just like a state. The UAE is the country, right? And there's a lot of Westerners that go there to practice Islam without being judged. However, I'm like, are y'all trying to be Muslim or y'all trying to be Arab? You know what I'm saying? I'll be in a group with brothers and they struggling to speak Arabic to each other. I'm like, bro, we speak English, like talk. No, you know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. I would even hear, they'd be like, yo, they kind of racist out here, this, that, and the third, right? And people throw that around a little too loose. I'm like, I don't see it. They love me. I said, I think they don't like how you're trying to mimic who they are. Right. Just like if a dude came over here trying to like be black, we're gonna think he corny.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So y'all, this is how they looking at y'all. They with us.
Yeah.
They want us around because of us. Black Americans don't realize how exotic they are around the world. Probably because typically we're treated like shit here. But when you step outside this country, it's like whatever you want to do, whatever.
Real life.
Yeah.
Travel is liberating.
They whole life seeing you on the screen.
Correct.
Now they got one in person. Oh,
nah. Listen.
They start looking at you of every person that they ever thought of. You, Samuel Jackson.
You know what the Habesha women, right? The Ethiopians, Eritreans.
Oh, I don't know why you Samuel Jackson.
So look, I met one out there when I was out there years ago, and
you met one out there.
Yeah. You know what I mean? At the time, at a time. And she was like, we hung out, and she was like, I love you. Because, you know, the English is really, they just get straight to me. She's like, I love you. I'm like, come on, man. I said, why? Because you black man. I said, you're from Africa. She said, it's different. It's not the same.
Yeah.
She said, you're like 50 cents. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is what they see on TV.
Terry
it's like,
Crews.
wow, not Terry Crews.
No.
Not Terry Crews.
Don't do that to him.
Not Terry
Hold
Crews.
on.
Not that one. Y'all got me.
I'm just playing. Nowhere near close compared to value.
We got travel, it makes you feel liberated. You know what I mean? When you see how great you are.
Black people, you are the standard of all things.
Yeah.
Look at the trends, right? Everybody want to look like a black woman. They just don't say it.
Yeah.
Because they tanning,
they act like that's Kim Kardashian look, but that's a black woman's
she's
look.
doing.
You got that's why the root always matters.
Right.
Because here you have, when you don't know yourself, you have a black woman wanting to be Kim Kardashian, but Kim Kardashian was inspired by a black woman.
Yes.
But if you was just inspired by yourself, right, then you would have automatically seen a value in your own perfection, in your own nature, and who you are.
Here's the thing, though, bro. This is our job, though, right? Yeah. Because we know that our people have been brainwashed to think they're ugly, to think that they ain't right. So, and then you had these people had a brilliant but evil plan, and it was that divide and conquer mentality, right? Boss, them niggas trying to run, them niggas trying to be free, boss. Let's get them. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we grew up.
You was as good as the best.
Right. Oh, so we be like, damn, black people be hating each other. They hate. Yeah, because we were taught that.
But that's why I say I don't think we got a big enough ego, and I don't talk about just a personal ego, but a collective ego. Yeah. Because if you got a big enough ego, you gonna want your name on the side of the building. Yes. You got a big enough ego, you gonna want to own that building. Right. You got a big enough ego, you gonna want the infrastructure, the institution. Yeah. You gonna want to control the money, the schooling, the politics, the farms. You want to control everything. Your ego wants the world to be made in your image.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we've lost a bit of our curiosity. And I think that goes back again. I mean, we keep circling back to the work ethic, man. The ability to seek out things. Right. What's happening is so much stuff is over the last couple of decades been given to people in poverty, right? To keep you stagnant, right? Stop you from asking questions.
100%.
A lot of these things can be unlocked just with basic curiosity.
Yeah.
You know, I was seeing everybody complaining about, not getting paid enough, right? Taraji was talking about, questioning her pay, right? And feeling like she wasn't getting what she was earned or what she was worth. And my thought always goes into, do you know what the full pie is? Right. Do you know what the value? Have you tried to get and own your own distribution? Have you put?
Yeah.
There's a level of curiosity where if you keep asking why, you get to the root of things and then you start to realize like I can have my name on the building. Yeah. So whether or not your ego will take you there, your curiosity will get you there.
Right. And for me, like when I say ego, I mean it in that manner. I don't mean it in the narcissistic matter and how everybody else want to categorize it. I just mean in like, wait a minute, if they can do it, I can do it.
Both are fine, right?
I agree.
I am too, but you know the audience be people be on their little soft.
But we gotta shift their perspective.
Yeah,
but as you said, I like what you said about that because we gotta check each other sometime when we be complaining about things that we can do. Yeah. It's like, listen. What you're saying is not even freedom anyway. What you're saying is that you want somebody to loosen the rope a little bit.
You want to be a better player.
But you don't want them to stop controlling the rope.
Yeah.
Right? And the goal is for you to be able to have that control.
Right.
How come we don't see, right? And I can ask the question, and like I say, 5 whys. And you go back and you ask why 5 times and it keeps going, you're going to get to the root to something. Why isn't there no independent platforms that are large, that are owned by a collective of actor or actresses that have unionized because they understand the game? The directors, the editors, the writers, the actors, the producers. Why don't they start their own? We see what Tyler Perry did it. Is that not a great example?
Yeah.
Right? So do you want to continue to have somebody control you? Hollywood has been one of the slowest but most profitable industries to change. Right. And now we have social media where you're seeing people come and make millions and billions of dollars. The only reason actors even started using social media and creating podcasts was because of 2020 pandemic.
Yeah.
And they were out of work. Then the strike happened and they was out of work. They've been working y'all for so long and controlling y'all for so long. You ain't even had a break to complain, right? But smart people, like we talked about Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
He wasn't popping before that movie. You said he put $8 million of his own money and was able to take a risk on himself.
And that was 80% of his
that
work.
Green Lantern movie flopped. Which mean, and I'm glad you told me that story because I always wondered, how did they take another risk on Ryan Reynolds? When
He
took it. Blade 3 flopped.
Yeah.
Right? But he knew he had something, but it just wasn't the right opportunity.
Yeah.
And when you take that risk on yourself and you bet on yourself and it all on the line, he got his best movie out there.
Yeah.
And now he a billionaire. Now he about to do the 3rd installment with Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's about to go crazy. But when you take that bet on yourself, everybody else can write you off. And here's that thing. There's no such thing as falling off. That to me is an American concept. They may say 50 Cent fell off, but he had one of the biggest tours in the world.
Yeah.
That American concept, but when the machine is no longer behind you, you're not working for them, you're no longer on because you don't look like it.
Yeah.
Instead of actually being it. If you could be making more money than you ever have, but if it doesn't appear that way. Right? So the American dream appearance is more important than the American dream reality.
Come on. And that machine, man, starve that machine. They're afraid to though. And it's not even for real reasons. It's for what you said. It's the perception that they pop in, right? So I haven't called on anybody to be a guest on any of my talks with my students because I want to show them like, look, this is super organic, right?
Yeah.
And when I've been to other people's things or got invited to people's events or whatever, I'm like, all right, this is 30 people with big followings. To me, that's so it's so unnecessary. It's not authentic. And if I like moving forward, like I'm learning so much as I'm going along, right? And I'm getting deeper established into what I want to present myself as, it's always going to be like that, right? I'm gonna make him a speaker. He's gonna become popular. Sean, right? You and Trap outside of you might be the only people that I'm like, yo, come talk to these people. You know what I'm saying? Because I've put y'all on a real level, right? I'm not ever gonna go and get the big names, and I know everybody. I have no desire to do that, bro, because it's like look, people got big names and it's corny. They ain't got shit to talk about.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm loving the conversation now too about industry plants and all these things.
Yes,
Again, popularity,
Yeah.
fame. These are not negative things. I think these are positive things.
Yeah.
But that is not everything.
If used properly.
Well,
If used
you
properly,
said it.
but it's
Why
not
don't the people with the
everything.
most influence have the most money?
Come on. So it's I keep looking at that, and that has really messed me up when you start to look at wealth and you put that next to influence. They're almost identical, right? Where you have the most wealth by family is Indian Americans, least influence.
Somebody got happy back there. We got happy back there.
Hey, news, my bad, man, but it ain't me. It's just the data.
No,
Right?
that's a good thing.
But then you look at
Getting
the
to the
most
money.
influence, Black Americans, right? Black families, least wealth. So what is going on in that dynamic?
We're learning, though. We're learning.
No, we are learning,
Yeah.
and we're starting to see the shift. And I think the gatekeepers now have, because of some levels of greed and capitalism, have opened things up. So now you're going to see an interesting shift.
It's not a noble reason.
It's not, no. But so it's like, for me, I always will question then when I see a level of fame and like something is being promoted, what all is behind it, right? So it's like, okay, great. If I see an athlete and they get $300 million, I'm like, who cut that check? I'm looking at who owns the team. You ask people who walk around, they don't know who owns these teams. They don't know what companies they have. They don't know what industries they're in. There's only a couple of team owners that are celebrities. Right? The Mark Cubans of the world, the Jerry Jones of the world. But most of these teams, we have no idea the billionaires that are behind them and don't understand where their money comes from. That's what we should be circling around and looking at.
Behind that.
Yeah, it's like, let's be curious and dig.
You say that.
I like that. I think you put it, not to cut your word, but you just put a new spin on the curiosity.
Yeah.
Be curious of what's behind the scenes, not what's in front of your face. What's in front of your face that's the product, right? That's the end result of somebody's funnel, right? But that's not where the money is. This person could be a cattle, they could have got their money in cattle ranch They now own a football team, and now when you see players promoting your right products that's in connection with that, you understand it, and now those sales rise in that industry.
Like everybody's watching movies. I'm watching the credits.
I
I
mean,
want to know who the executive
Mm.
y'all
producer was.
both
Who
bring up
financed
a
this?
good point. I got a shout out to my brother Kevin Gates. He smoking hot right now, right? He was telling me the amount of millions that he generate on his farms. You
Mm.
feel me?
His farm?
Cattle,
Mm.
Yeah.
plural. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Acres, animals. You know what I'm saying? It's
Taxes,
not promoted.
etc.
You don't see that,
Yeah.
right? But that's what it's about. It's about having confidence in yourself and really, really thinking about your legacy. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, while I'm here, it's like it's for me to run up the bag and plant as many seeds as possible for generations after me. You know what I'm saying? It's to have a dope ass eulogy. Like y'all talk pop
Yeah.
out right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't need anything. I don't need nothing. I was given the ability to fucking go. I got an engine for a heart, right?
Yeah.
So I go and I'm gonna keep going till this motherfucker burn out. And it's things like that. It's moves like that I really respect. And these are the things that not specifically ranching, but things that I'm doing behind the scenes that no one will ever know about. There's not no reason for it. They don't need a social media person to talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing I want to get into, man, is the feeling. You don't have to go super deep in it, but you talked about being a fugitive.
Yes, sir.
I want you to describe that, how you felt and how you feel now.
That time period made me I've always been a strong-minded person. That tested me. It was going to break me or make me a superhero, right? It made me a superhero. So you got to think, I left the country at first, right? I had my whole clandestine setup, right? As soon as I get off the plane in Spain, somebody calls my name. Part in my stomach. You know what I'm saying? It was just somebody that just happened to know me from the streets. Just happened to be, the gang was on our plane and his crew, and one of them knew me from, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, every day was like, this is the last day. Right? So then I started developing this concept of like, do as much as you can today, because they might be, when you get home, they might be there. You know what I'm saying? So I developed a sense of urgency to live, to be on 10 every day, right? That's one. So then I developed a high degree of resilience, of emotional resilience, right? So there was times when, listen, I say that depression is a decision, right? It's not a condition. You choose to be depressed. And I had those moments where like the money is gone, right? People who are nothing were happy that I was down, right?
Wow.
And I wanted to go turn up because the only thing that I could do at that time was be violent and be bold and pop up on people's doorsteps, right? I ain't had no money. I ain't had no influence, right? If I could do that, I could give you a bad day. I could put up for both of us, right? But I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had to make these. And look, this may sound like an easy decision for some not to do, but I used to be like a tyrant, like a villain. I was a bad guy all times, right? So it was really hard for me to like change, to not do those things, right? Those emotionally charged things that people do out of an insecurity and out of fear. So I had that demon over my head for 7 years, right? And I constantly had to deflect them. Nope, slip, right? Depression, all of these things, right? So in my mind, I was like, bro, you are not going to be a loser. You're not going to be a story, right? You know, a story when like, oh man, so-and-so had a deal on the table with XYZ, now in prison. I did not want to do that. And I love my children so much. So, and I love my life, So I had a lot of growing. So the first thing that hit me that I had to accept is I was doing music back then, and No ID, shout out to No ID. That's one of my closest friends. And he had just started back working with Kanye West, right? And he was like, all right, man, it's time. I need you out here. And we in Hawaii. You gonna be here? All right, bro. I took a picture of my ankle bracelet and sent him. I knew my music career was done.
Yeah.
It was all in my heart, in my stomach. You know what I'm saying? But I had to own it because I fucked up. My cars, everything, jewelry, everybody ran through my shit, right? I wasn't in a position to go after it, right? I was like, you got it illegally. What do you expect? You really thought you were going to keep that? I had to keep taking those L's, right? But I deserved those L's. And I had myself in a deficit. And I had to dig myself out, right? This is a funny story. So when I came back to the States, I was homeless, right? Because when you go on a run, you get caught within a month, maybe two, right?
Yeah.
So everybody was like, yeah, you can come stay. But they knew that in their mind, he ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
and I was traveling, but I'm like Rashid, so I circumnavigate things, right? I research, so I'm back a few months later, and they were like, "Oh no, bro, it ain't cool."
Yeah.
Cause I'm hot. Like, who would want a fugitive in a spot? So I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't even get mad. I'm so happy that they said no, because had they said yes, I probably would have fell into old habits, seeing girls hanging out, not taking life serious. So I had to walk the street, like, for real. So I got a job at the gym. Nobody knows I was homeless, right? I'm there bright and early, 5 in the morning. During the middle of the day, when I have a break, I'll go to the movies down the street or something, come back. And then when it's closing time, I just kind of like just disappear. And then they all gone, then I'm out. This is my crib.
Yeah.
Gym, right? I did that, a couple paychecks, until I found somebody looking for a roommate, right? This is a real story. Start paying her, and this was a cat lady. Like 80 cats. Disgusting, right? But this is all I could do at the time.
Yeah.
Did that until I had enough money to get my own apartment.
Yeah.
Then it got me a little car, right? At the same time, I'm working my ass off, right? Making about $3,000 a month in California, right?
Wow.
But I was fine. Sending what I could to the kids. And then, during that process, I owe a lot of gratitude and love and appreciation to my son's and my daughter's mother, Vanessa. Because she called me and she said, "You want Elijah? I'm in no condition to have a child, but I'm a man." So I said, "Yes." I ain't going to tell you. Nobody knew how fucked up I was.
Yeah.
They used to me being straight. I was like, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would never know if I fucked up or not. I'd never tell it. You know what I'm saying? I just get back right. But anyway, I said, yeah. I'm like, what I'm going to do? So he was with me in that little ass room with the cat lady. You know what I'm saying? Wow. That's my dog, right? We're spiritually linked forever, tethered. But anyway, so one day, walking down to school, I have a car at that time. He's in kindergarten. So when I go pick him up, he can't see me, but I can see him because he's little. But he's looking for me, right? And he saw me and he ran, hold my leg so hard. And we walked in, he just holding my hand tight. That shit right there told me that, like, yo, if this little innocent, beautiful, pure soul can love you, you better love yourself. Or you're gonna waste his love, his heart, his dreams. You know what I'm saying? So that right there, I love myself to a degree that I had never done before. Because before I used to do really reckless things, irregardless of what happens to me. Never again. So he gave me all of the things that I needed. He didn't even know it that day, right? And it's been an upward trajectory since then till this day, right? So me going through, that's the thing. This is why I tell people about that alchemy, that spiritual divine alchemy. I had the situation you can imagine, right? I made it the best thing possible. You know what I'm saying? Because my life is better than a lot of motherfuckers who came up in 2-parent homes with privilege and all. I hired them. Those people, maybe I'll hire them. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Yeah. And I'm a dude with no American education. I got education, though.
Yeah.
No, none of the traditional, I don't want none of that on me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm giving the same thing for my children. And I took Key's words to heart with customization of their education of everything. You know what I'm saying? My daughter's 8, played chess. She's brilliant. You know what I'm saying? She's not even in a grade. It's weird, right? Yeah. It's this new Socratic principle that they do at school and shit like that. Yeah. It's funny because I taught their director of the school, like, you know who Socrates' teacher is, right? Yeah. I had to break it down, give him the knowledge. So, but it's like life is so good because it was potentially bad. I had that formidable opposition and it couldn't fuck with me. So if I can beat that, just like, what was it? Jacob wrestled with God. Abraham fought God and God respected him. You're Israel. You know what I'm saying? That was my battle right there. That was my battle in that garden. You feel me? And look, I feel like as men, we all gonna go through that at some point in different degrees. However formidable that battle is for us will determine how great we become. You know? So what I felt going through that was a lot. But one thing I would not do, my ego, my pride would not succumb to none of that shit. Yeah. I'll never say I lost. Nothing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Nothing.
I think that's the warrior's path.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the greatest entrepreneurs, business people, just successful people, they just have a way about going through life.
Right.
When they get tested, they have a way that they're going to go through this test.
Right.
When they go through emotional pain, they have a way that they're going to process those emotions.
Right.
Right. When it comes to family, they have a way that they deal with family.
Right.
And when you can have a way that you go through every battle in life, eventually you're going to win that war.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're going to do the best you can in that battle.
Right.
And that's going to make you feel okay at the end of the day because you did it your way.
Indeed.
Right. And if you can find your way of manifesting things,
Mm-hmm.
your way of bringing things outward when you have an idea, your way of resettling yourself back into your spirit,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can never be lost.
Right.
Because all you have to do is follow your code.
Right.
Right. And I think that kind of gets to the core of who you are and the core of what I believe that the audience in the world needs to know is what is your way?
Right.
Right. What is your principles? What are your values? What are your codes? What are your ethics?
I want to know something. So I know both of y'all, right, on a certain level, but there's other levels I want to understand with y'all. Like, so I'm gonna ask you this, both of y'all. When you're being taken out of your element emotionally, right, and you're feeling that pressure, right, what do? How do you realign? And do you recognize it in that moment? Like, yo, I need to chill the fuck out.
I do. And I honestly, I don't like myself when I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because, and that's why I was thinking about today, you know, when people say be mindful, right? And when people say be a man, you feel me? When somebody is out of their mind, they not themselves. You feel me? And I think about that like, I don't have control over me.
Right.
And then as the observer to even say that, like, I'm observing that I don't control this spirit right now.
Right.
I don't control this body right now. I don't control these emotions right now. So I got to take a step back, right? So that I can become mindful again, right? So I can mind myself, right? That's what they call reminding yourself. Because when you are a mind, you're whole.
Correct.
Right? But when somebody else has control over your mind or something has control over your mind, you're not yourself. You're no longer in control where your life goes and leads. So in that moment where something gets me angry, I got to step back again and remind myself. Right. And that usually goes through separation. Like, let me take a step back and separate from this thing. And I learned that when I was younger, where it was like, owning your emotions and control them.
Right.
Because owning something and controlling something is two different things.
Right.
But you first have to recognize ownership to get control. Why am I angry? What is it? Then I say, oh, this is anger. I identify that feeling, right? What is it making me angry? So now I'm rationalizing it so it's no longer emotional. Now it's going to the mind, right? Now the mind is operating on it and it becomes a logical process versus a feeling that I don't have power over because I don't understand.
Right.
You can't control things you don't understand. People who understand the system control the system.
That's true.
When you understand somebody else, you know they triggers, you control it. So when I'm triggered by something, I can't even blame nobody else. Like, I let you trigger me, but it also represents there's something in me that I ain't got over yet.
Right.
So I remember my older brother used to know how to trigger me. And I remember at a certain point in time, I left him, right, went on my own path, and he tried to do the same things that used to trigger me. They didn't work, right? And I had recognized that within myself, like, oh, I'm past that. I've healed all of that. I've recognized that. I've learned the lessons in that. So for me, it's a self-reflection when that happens. You feel me? Whether it's dealing in a relationship with a loved one or whether it's family or whatever it is, it's just a constant process of introspection. Like, all right, let me take control over that. And a lot of that is disassociating that. That anger is not me.
Yeah.
Right? When you don't know where it comes from, now it's controlling your whole spirit. You're getting hot. That's not me. That's a feeling. Where does that feeling come from? All right, now I control that. I don't own that. Now I can rule it. Because most people don't have domination over themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people don't even have the greatest amount of influence over themselves. Other people do.
That's true.
He said it earlier, black men, 80% of black men have the strongest control of influence about buying power and things of that nature. But think about, like, are you the person that has control over yourself or influence over yourself when it comes to why you buy things, why you do things, why you dress, why you move? I think about that in myself. What is influencing me? And it got me down to thinking about, I think it was Wall Street Trapper that brought up the lottery effect in the neighborhood. When one person wins the lottery, it usually makes the rest of that neighborhood poor. right? And the reason is because they're now trying to keep up with the lifestyle of that person, right? They're now being influenced and controlled by that person's luck and opportunity. And social media does that.
It's the trap right there. So you've unlocked something that is the power of marketing. You know, when you think about marketing in $1 that has to get released, you want the most ROI. So where would you spend it? You would spend it to the most influential group. So you influence the influencer. So when you know that you possess that power, you realize that you are a target because other people realize it. So I use that stat to remind us that we are being preyed upon. And we have to be very strong because people know that we possess that power. So what do? They send a lot of marketing, a lot of things at us, and we go with it. And that's why I say we have control. We just didn't realize it. So reclaim your power. So instead of them marketing to you, actually understand why they're doing it. Understand the business model. Now you have the biggest business because we're the most influential. So if I can influence it, I should own it. That's the piece. So I want to get back to answering. Yeah, I might have to quote that one. We're gonna drop down on the bar.
All right, I might tweet that right there.
Hold on now, let me get some credit. But now, to answer your question right for me, and I appreciate both of you guys for sharing yours. I think mine is seeking perspective and then faith. I think when I get in those moments, I'm an extrovert naturally, right? And I feed off the energy of you guys. And that's why I can sit and I'm watching and observing and it's filling my spirit, right? It's filling my cup. At the same time though, when I am off, right? When I get off and I'm feeling I don't have control, right? And things are hectic. Man, it was my mom. And I got to give a shout out to her for really schooling me on this when I was having a tough time, right? The pandemic was a rough time for a lot of folks in business. A lot of stuff got shifted up. People didn't realize I was funding my company and my team through a side hustle. But I was just trying to keep everything flowing and moving. So they didn't know what was going on and the pressure was there.
That's boss moves though.
Yeah, but what it also meant was my timeline and things were off. So now you got pressure.
I'm sorry, bro, but I respect that so much.
Hey,
listen, a boss, a leader don't let his team know that it's not just up. You just keep everybody fed.
You try your best.
And you fix it. Yeah,
you try your
That's
best.
A real leader.
So
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And so you're going through that, but now I got to get back in the race, especially those of us that raise venture capital or get some outside investors. You got to be careful because you can get dependent on it at times, and you have these milestone markers. So now you've done it once, you may have to do it again.
Right.
But when you're off that timeline, now you're trying to really sell. You tap dancing, but you're caught. And I was at one point I was caught, right? And I was in a really tough meeting, man. And this investor was committed to some dollars, but was just an asshole in the diligence, Started just talking in a way where I was like, you know what? If we was in person, might go a little different. Like you real bold on this Zoom.
Right.
And I was feeling myself emotionally losing some control. And I'm calling my mom. I'm like, man, I don't know. This ain't looking good. And she said, well, who are you talking to? And I said, I don't even know where to go, who to talk to on this one. She said, why don't you talk to the same person you've been talking to? Who helped you get there? I said, well, it was nobody. She said, exactly. Why don't you go look in the mirror and talk to your fucking self and get your shit together? This is my mom talking to me. And I will never forget, man, I'm sitting there, my lady's pregnant. I got the pressure of the business going on. We're about to have our first kid. Just a lot of stuff hitting, you holding it. Men, we hold it. I went in the bathroom, man. I closed the door, looked in the mirror, and I gained some perspective. Like, you that dude.
That's right.
You that dude. You got that. You know what I mean? You've been doing that.
I'm so glad you said what you said, because some people want to default to a weak thing and hope that you say, oh, and I cried.
No,
I don't with that. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't with it.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens, right?
Yeah.
But that's not I'm going to get strength. You know what I'm saying?
Crying is just release. It's just a cool down method. But you can cry to sweat. You know what I mean? Go work and let that release be it. And so I think your tear ducts, they work well as a cooling method if that's what you want to do.
It's a practical.
But I'd rather my sweat glands of the work that I put in
that
be my
part.
battle cry.
Yeah.
Well, look, mine wasn't none of that. I ain't sweating nor did I cry. But I looked in that mirror and I realized who the fuck I was and gained some
That was a
perspective.
spiritual cry.
I gained some perspective.
That's the war cry.
And I turned on some trap music.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and I destroyed that fucking meeting.
Hell yeah.
And I got what I wanted.
Right,
you know,
right.
and
think about how
and that was the perspective,
is,
and then that was the faith, right? It was the belief that it was gonna happen.
Just it's just enough to remind yourself who you are.
That's it.
Nothing else. Because and that's why I say it's such a powerful idea about being minded. Like you just reminding yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like, don't lose your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is you. You have an identity. This is your spirit. You this entity. It can go about doing all these amazing things it's done before, but you can let things shake you off of all that you made of. And it's like, no, bro, you this.
And that's why perspective is powerful.
Yeah.
Because you realize certain things are moments, brief moments. Don't let a moment control you and destroy or take your life down. A lot of us have had our lives ruined by some bad moments. So let's try to not lose perspective at times.
I asked that because I had a moment. Like, look, my pace is crazy, right? And as of late, it's been hectic. And what I was frustrated about was me not having a minute for myself, right? I was getting frustrated, right? And he could tell you, I had him, I think you and Matt, right? Y'all cool for a minute? I was like, yo, I'm angry right now. It's like 1,000 volcanoes going off in me right now. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm jumping on grenades nonstop, right? I kept talking about it until I was cool. And then we started crying. And he like, give me a hug. I'm like, give me a hug.
That's crying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No tears though.
Got it.
Listen.
But it's just something to release.
What I do.
Everybody gotta have a cry.
Yeah. So I, and then this morning I had a moment because I'm being agitated by somebody that I care about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I know this, you know what? This is what it is. Remember I mentioned earlier before we started filming how fasting is a huge thing for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't fasted since Ramadan 2023, almost a year, right?
Wow.
So I started back about 2 weeks, right? And also in my sauna session, I haven't been doing my visualization or nothing. I've been taking my phone and playing chess, right? So this morning, I turned my phones off after the workout because this is when I'm going back and forth with this person. Put my and I went in there with nothing, and I just went there. You know what I'm saying? And it gave me back that mindfulness, and put me back where I needed to be.
It gives you a clean sheet. You know what I mean? It's like
that's your superpower right there.
The things that we do every day, it's like take a piece of paper and you're constantly writing stuff on it. There's a new problem, there's a new thing you're doing, and it gets to a certain point where there ain't no space left on the page.
Right.
When you fast, it allows that piece of paper to start clearing out.
Yeah.
Right? And you got to give yourself, and sometimes people never fast long enough. Maybe you got 20% room left. Then you fill it up again. Now it's no more room left. Now you get that anxiety, that stress, it builds up. So for me, I always tell, anytime I mentor anybody, fasting is always involved.
Yeah.
I think, to me, it's almost the details of it are less important. It's the fact that you have a routine and you have a set of rules that you abide by. And that is a source of power
way
for you, right? When we talk, what is it in martial arts, right? You got your position, your indefensible position, right? In boxing, we have a defensible position, right? Doesn't matter, right? In football, you got keys, whatever it is the thing that you can always defend and attack whatever is in front of you in a way. And it's something that when you practice it and you're consistent with it over time, it becomes such a sense of strength and power.
Right.
So you were feeling off and it sounds like you went back to your rules and your way, your fasting, your sauna, your manifestation. And it's like, I think that's the lesson for all of us, which is write down what are your rules and principles on how you want to live and stick to that.
Important.
Don't shake it. Important. Don't waver.
That's part of and look, I got to give my brother his props because when I was at one of your talks and you was like, I bet y'all can name 5 songs, but can you name 5 core principles? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So right then I identified 10 and I sent it to the fam. Like, y'all memorize it.
See, he competitive. He said 5. I'm doing 10. Yeah.
Nah, overdo it. You know what I'm saying? So now that's a key thing for me. And to anybody in an earshot of me for some wisdom, I'm putting on them. You need some principles.
It ain't enough to be great if you can't duplicate it consistently, because that's the magic version of the science. The magic is what you do. The science is how you do it.
Right. The
Right.
process.
You can see an AI machine, and a machine is always able to reproduce the same results.
Right.
With humans, sometimes we magic and we not machines. But when you
Right.
put that machine behind them, you can keep doing
Oh,
it.
yeah.
So it's like, go do something great, then reverse engineer. Right. That's your way.
Right.
Now, anytime you want to do that again, just go back to your way.
Right.
Well, Mike, look, man, we gotta get you to your flight.
Yeah.
You have man, you have blessed all of us, not just Keys and I, everybody who's gonna get a chance to watch this. I appreciate you sharing your story, and giving us the game on how you see the world, how you see yourself, more importantly. And I think the push and what we're all capable of.
Right.
You know, where you've taken your journey, man, from, you know, I wanted to ask about the time, because I know that's not your only story. That's a part of your story.
It's a huge
right?
part.
Of being on the run, but where you shaped your mind, you know, you went through something that breaks a lot of people, and it would break a lesser person.
Right.
And it didn't break you. It made you stronger. And I think that's a key thing for all of us, man.
I do have to say something though. I have to say a part of that, why this whole process has been so successful for me, is because I did, like a snake sheds his skin, I shedded my ways. Like my evil way. I was doing evil things. I shed it, right? I don't even lie. I won't lie to a woman. I won't lie to nobody. Right? I had to abandon all of that filthy actions, filthy thoughts, filthy activities. And I was fortunate, you know, the fact that I was gone so far. I'm in another country where people spoke English, but not that good. So I was alone for like months. And I was going to the mosque praying multiple times a day. I had no time in my mind for filth. You're praying over and over and over, and you're supplicating, and you're making wudu, washing yourself every time. After prayer, you feel like you've cried, like it rained and the air is fresh. You feel so pure. So that was a huge part of my trajectory. So I don't want people you might look at me, jewelry, whatever, right? But I am a person that's aligned with Allah, with God, and with what's right. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. Like, you have to be aligned with something better than yourself, something of a spiritual nature, or nothing's going to work for you. You know what I'm saying? It may be temporary, but when it crash, it's going to be bad. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that summed it up right there.
Yes, sir.
We gonna end on that note. Brother, man, we appreciate you, man. This was love, man.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for this.
All love.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Bless.
And if anybody wants to join your coaching program, how can they find you? You got a discount code or something for us?
All right, for all those who are interested in some real, like, self-development, self-mastery, and not just mentally, but also physically, because we have a whole training protocol, nutrition protocol, financial, personal branding, just overall bettering yourself, right? In every sense of the word. Go to thesuperiorman.io/manifest house.
This is about the playground for your dreams, because it's not something that you can give up.
Manifest house. Manifest house. Manifest house. Manifest house.